Discover 12 amazing questions revealed by Stoicism that will transform your life forever. Michael stood behind the counter of his hardware store as the world outside drifted into dawn. The fluorescent lights flickered hesitantly against the darkness, just like the hope in his heart. Each morning felt heavier than the last, as life in this small Indiana town continued to slide away from him. The promise of the American dream, once vivid in his mind, felt like a memory chased by heavy shadows. A few townsfolk wandered in, whispers trailing behind them of bills unpaid and worries spoken softly. He masked his shame with a faint smile, trying to hide a chest tight with anxiety. As he reached for a can of nails, his eyes fell on the framed picture of his wife and 2 young sons, beaming under a summer sky. Their laughter haunted him. They deserved more. "Dad, can we have ice cream tonight?" His youngest chimed in with hope. Just hearing their innocent request tugged at Michael's heart, leaving him feeling like a specter in their lives, outstretched hands seeking a better tomorrow. But late one night, while hunting for forgotten mementos in the attic, Michael discovered a dusty box filled with books, old, yellowed pages filled with memories and secrets. Among them was a worn volume on Stoicism, its spine cracked open like a long-neglected diary. As he flipped through it, he found restrictive questions that echoed through the years. What is truly in my control? How do I define success? These lines pulsated with wisdom. Michael's heart raced. This wasn't just ink on a page. This was a lifeline to a man who had never spoken his thoughts aloud, his father. His fingers grazed the underlying passages, scribbles filled with emotion poured out in strokes of ink. Michael felt a surge of new energy against the current of despair that had gripped him for so long. Maybe these answers could illuminate the path ahead. As days wore on, he shared these questions with folks at the hardware store. Conversations turned from gossip and misfortune to something warmer, more genuine. Townspeople started pouring in, not just for nails and paint but to unleash their burdens. The little store transformed into a sanctuary and unexpected refuge where everyone bared their hearts, revealing dreams crushed by expectations and the burden of judgment. But deep down, the specter of his father still lurked, poised to confront Michael's past. Every day he weighed the memory of his father's disappointment like an anchor dragging down his dreams. The email from the bank declaring his low balance loomed over him. He was straining under the weight of a heritage of silence, but he desperately wanted to break the cycle. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Amidst his revelations, the family faced a crisis. News of a devastating illness that could shake their world to the core hit hard, and Michael suddenly had to put his newfound understanding to the ultimate test. Would he rise up, armed with wisdom gathered from those questions and insights, or would the weight of societal expectations crush him one last time? The silence from his father pressed against him, and Michael found himself teetering on the edge, longing for redemption. When the moment to reach out loomed, would he falter or finally find the courage to change his legacy? The days blurred together as the news hung over Michael like a dark cloud. His family had gathered around the kitchen table, faces etched with worry. It was a cancer diagnosis, a word laden with dread. It felt as if the very ground beneath him was shifting, threatening to swallow him whole. What did he do now? How could he possibly hold himself together when all he wanted to do was break down? His wife, Sarah, clasped their youngest son's hand, her eyes reflecting a strength Michael wished he felt. She turned to him, needing reassurance, and his heart sank. Not only did he have to be the pillar for his family, but he also had to confront the fears and shadows he had carefully tucked away. Yet, where could someone like him find the strength to stand tall? Later that afternoon, as he sat the cash register after closing, Michael felt the clamor of his unspoken fears. He slid his hand over the Stoic book, its pages still warm with ideas he had only begun to grasp. He felt an undeniable pull and need to revisit the questions. What if he could redefine the notion of success for himself? Wasn't it possible that success wasn't tied to money or accolades, but rather the love and support he could give in such a time of crisis? The idea felt revolutionary and comforting all at once. But how could a mere hardware store owner like him embody such powerful notions? The flurry of thoughts gave way to a sudden clarity when the first potential customer of the new week walked through the door. It was Mr. Harris, an old man from the neighborhood, a fixture in the community who had seen generations pass by. He shuffled in, his shoulders slumped under the weight of years. Michael could see the pain in his eyes dealing with losses of his own, a mirror reflecting Michael's turmoil. As Mr. Harris approached the counter, he hesitated, looking as if he might turn and walk away. But Michael took a breath, placing the Stoic book before him as a gesture of goodwill. "I've been thinking a lot about what it means to face setbacks," he said, vulnerability in his voice. "We all have our burdens, don't we?" Mr. Harris's brow furrowed, and he nodded slowly, the lines on his face deepening with every word. "We do," he said, the weight of shared sorrow heavy between them. "But it's how we carry them that defines us." Something cracked open in Michael's chest, a connection formed. They started sharing their stories. A painful past brought forth laughter and sincerity, and understanding forged in their collective struggles. What Mr. Harris uttered next would resonate with Michael forever. Life is always the option of choosing how to respond. With every interaction at the store, Michael's heart began to thaw. The conversations with townsfolk were healing, their communal sorrow resembling a patchwork quilt that kept them warm against the chills of life. But the looming illness at home tugged incessantly at his energy reserves. Each piece of wisdom he uncovered seemed to reveal a new layer of fear. What if, despite everything, he wasn't enough? What if his efforts to change things were in vain? As he grappled with these haunting queries, Michael felt a tug at his sleeve. It was his oldest son, wide-eyed and carrying a small drawing he'd made. "Dad," he said softly, "this is us. Together." The innocence shone through the waxy colors, and Michael could do nothing but pull him close, embracing that pure hope. The challenges ahead would test him, no doubt. The storm was coming. But in that moment, surrounded by love, he felt a flicker of courage. The journey might not be clear, but maybe, just maybe, the golden threads of resilience were stitched right into the fabric of his family. Would he embrace this flicker enough to stand against the dark? Would he find not just his strength but also the courage within his family to face the unknown? As the night drew near, a decision loomed ahead, one that could either solidify Michael's resolve or plunge him deeper into uncertainty. Caught in the crossroads of vulnerability and strength, he sensed the moment of truth was fast approaching. Would he lead his family toward light, or would he let fear dictate their fate? The morning sun trickled in through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow over the family gathering. Michael sat at the table, but his mind was elsewhere. The aroma of coffee brewed by Sarah wafted through the air, mingling with the quiet rustle of breakfast preparations. Yet, he felt a chill. After last night, the solidarity among them felt stronger, but it was also tangled with uncertainty. His diagnosis loomed over their breakfast like a dark silhouette, and he could see it in the way his children paused before digging in. Sarah reached for his hand, her palm warm against his, a reassurance that felt too fragile for the weight of their reality. "Can we talk about what we're going to do, Dad?" his daughter, Lily, asked, her voice small. She glanced from his face to Sarah's, searching for answers only they could provide. Michael swallowed hard. Speaking about it made the shadows feel more real, like naming the monster hiding in the dark. Let us figure out how we can face this together, he managed, the words tumbling out like unbidden thoughts. But how? His gaze fell on the drawing still clutched in his oldest son's hands. The innocent depiction stared back at him, a reminder of the joy they once embraced without fear. What if he could inspire that joy amidst the chaos? What if they could use this experience to teach resilience, to build bonds stronger than any storm? Lily, how about we make a plan as a family? He suggested, his voice steadier now. We can come together, share what we're feeling. Maybe make it a tradition. Like a family meeting? Lily's eyes sparkled, and Michael recognized the flicker of interest. Exactly. He felt an unexpected surge of hope. Let us talk about our feelings, and ways we can support each other. We can even talk about funny things too, celebrate the good moments. Yeah. His youngest, Tommy, chimed in, his face lighting up. And I can make more drawings. We can hang them in the living room. Michael couldn't help but smile. The innocent suggestions reminded him that even in the darkest times, light could suck through the cracks. With each idea tossed around the table, the atmosphere grew lighter. They were still swirling in uncertainty, but this shared effort began stitching together the raw edges of their fear. As the family gathered closer, Michael felt a sense of unease rise. Would this be merely a bandage for deeper wounds, or could it cultivate genuine healing? The next few days rolled by, filled with moments of laughter mingled with tears. Family meetings turned into treasured rituals, and amidst discussions of fears and hopes, a certain strength began to rise from the ashes of despair. Michael embraced the flicker of courage sparked within him, yet he silently battled an undercurrent of worry. Each time his phone buzzed with messages from the doctor's office, his heart would pound, a furious reminder of his reality. Then, one evening, after another family gathering, Michael came across a message from Mr. Harris, the old man from the store. It read simply, "Thinking of you, my friend. Let us meet." A wave of confusion rushed through him. What could an old man like Mr. Harris possibly offer now? Uneasiness crept back in. Was he truly connecting with others, or was he merely skimming the surface, avoiding the depths of his true feelings? As he settled into bed that night, his mind whirled with possibilities. The shadows of doubt continued to loom large, yet the warmth of his family's encouragement ignited something deep within him. He wanted to believe in the light. Would he find it in Mr. Harris's wisdom? With dawn just hours away, hope clashed with the fear of the unknown once more. Would he have the courage to truly explore the supportive community around him, or would he retreat back into isolation? As sleep eluded him, a simple question lingered in his mind: could he really open up enough to face whatever lay ahead? The sun rose in a blaze of color, bathing the world outside in hues of orange and pink. Michael woke with a determined heart, ready to face whatever awaited him. Today, he had a meeting with Mr. Harris, a prospect he had mulled over all night. Curiosity mingled with trepidation in his chest. What could the old man share that might help ease his burden? As he joined his family at the breakfast table, he caught Sarah's eye. She was pouring juice, the sunlight dancing in her hair, and he felt a swell of gratitude. They were a team, navigating this unpredictable terrain together. The weight of the diagnosis still hovered, but somehow their shared laughter and enthusiasm made things feel manageable, even bright. "Are we going to have our family meeting later?" Tommy asked, excitedly pushing his empty plate away, his little hands clasped together as if praying for this special time. "Of course," Michael replied, his smile genuine. "We've got to keep that going. Everyone has something to share, especially since we have a very special visitor." "Who?" Lily leaned closer, her eyes wide, her voice dropping to a whisper as if sharing a secret. "Mr. Harris is coming by for a chat." Tommy's brows furrowed, still processing the name. "Is he the funny old man?" Michael chuckled, recalling the stories they'd shared. "Yeah, that's him." "I want to hear more stories," Tommy exclaimed, his small face lighting up. As breakfast wound down, Michael's excitement blended unsettlingly with anxiety about the visit. He felt exposed, as if he was revealing pieces of himself he had long buried under layers of routine and denial. It was time to be open and hear the wisdom of someone who had seen more of life's ups and downs than he ever had. After breakfast, as he prepared for Mr. Harris's visit, he found himself pacing the living room, glancing occasionally at the drawings that adorned the walls, each one filled with a little bit of hope. He began to realize that his children were, in fact, his light. Their laughter echoed in his mind, reminding him that the situation didn't have to swallow them whole. Just before noon, a knock on the door sent a ripple of anticipation throughout the house. Michael opened it to find Mr. Harris standing there with a warm smile, his familiar checkered shirt barely concealing a frame that had once been robust. "Good to see you, my friend," Mr. Harris said, stepping inside. His voice was as comforting as a favorite blanket. "Thanks for coming, Mr. Harris." "It really means a lot to me," Michael replied, gesturing for him to sit. The two men settled in, a steaming cup of coffee finding its way into Mr. Harris's hands along with a comforting silence that felt ripe with possibilities. It wasn't long before Mr. Harris began to share stories from his life, tales of loss, love, and resilience that had shaped him. Each story breathed life into Michael's uncertainties, like balm on a fresh wound. "Sometimes, you have to lean into the storm rather than run away from it," Mr. Harris murmured, his eyes reflecting a wisdom that felt both chilling and comforting at the same time. Michael was transfixed, thinking about how often he had run from vulnerability. He felt a knot tighten in his stomach, the truth of those words resonating deeply. Would leaning into his fears allow him to truly embrace the life he had left? As Mr. Harris spoke, Michael couldn't shake the feeling that this conversation was just the beginning, a gateway to understanding his situation with a renewed perspective. Just then, the door swung open. Lily and Tommy rushed in, their faces flushed, suddenly bursting with excitement to share what they had drawn during their art session. In that moment, amidst laughter and the chaos of children's energy, Michael found a flicker of hope reignite inside him. It was enough to drown out the shadows' whispering doubts. Yet, as they shared their creations, one question nagged at Michael: was he ready to embrace the lessons of resilience not just for himself, but also for his family? The children's laughter rang out, pulling him back into the warmth of the moment. But the uncertainty of the future loomed ominously on the horizon. Would he have the courage to confront his fears, support his family, and truly embrace vulnerability? As he watched Mr. Harris and his children interact, a deeper realization dawned on him. Maybe resilience wasn't just about facing the storm, but about learning to dance in the rain. Yet, with every laugh, every hug, the gaps in his understanding widened. Could he really navigate this journey of life and love without losing his way? The laughter filled the room like a warm embrace. Tommy was showing Mr. Harris a vibrant drawing of a dragon soaring over a mountain, while Lily perched on the edge of her chair, cradling her colorful depiction of their family, complete with stick figures and a sun with a smile. Michael could feel his heart swell as he watched their joy.mr. Harris leaned forward, his eyes sparkling as he shared stories that matched the whimsy of the children's artwork. "You know, when I was your age, I once imagined a dragon that guarded all the treasures of kindness," he told them, and for a moment, the weight of Michael's worries lifted, replaced with a sense of wonder. But amid the joy, a heavy thought slipped in: was kindness enough to shield them from the looming storm that life had thrown at him? After the kids finished their presentations, Mr. Harris turned to Michael with a knowing gaze. Your children have a beautiful spirit. They inspire you, don't they? They do, Michael replied, a lump forming in his throat. But I worry I won't be able to give them everything they need. I feel lost. Mr. Harris nodded, his expression shifting to one of understanding. Sometimes the best thing for our children is to show them how we deal with the storms. They learn resilience through our struggles, not just our successes. Those words struck a chord deep within. The idea that vulnerability could be a lesson rather than a failure twisted in Michael's mind like a dance he could not yet join. He looked at his kids, who were beaming with joy, and remembered how they always seemed to find magic in the mundane. Could he channel that same spirit? Michael, Mr. Harris continued, you are not alone in this. We all face our storms. What matters is how we let them shape us. Embrace your truth, and teach them the same. As the afternoon crept on, Michael pondered these thoughts, the warmth of the interaction wrapping around him like a comforting coat. They moved to the backyard, where the sun cast a golden glow over everything. It felt like a perfect stage for new beginnings. Tommy raced across the grass, pretending to be a superhero, while Lily narrated elaborate stories about their grand adventures. The air buzzed with energy, and Michael found himself laughing along, forgetting for a moment the heaviness that had nestled in his chest, but beneath his laughter, doubts still danced. What if he couldn't face the challenges racing toward them? What if he stumbled when it mattered most? As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in twilight colors, Michael felt a pull of reality beckoning him back. He glanced at Mr. Harris, who was watching the children with a thoughtful smile, and something clicked within him. It was the realization that maybe facing the truth wasn't the end of everything he felt he could never overcome. Perhaps it was the gateway to discovering a deeper strength. Mr. Harris, what if embracing vulnerability feels overwhelming? Michael asked, his voice breaking slightly. Mr. Harris's eyes twinkled. Start with small steps. Let your children see your journey. They will surprise you with their strength. Just then, Tommy dashed over, holding a stick like a sword. Daddy. Let us be superheroes together. His infectious enthusiasm washed over Michael, and for the first time, instead of shying away from the challenge, he felt a spark of courage igniting within. Okay. Let us save the world. He responded, laughter spilling out, the earlier doubts shrinking away next to their imaginative adventure. As they played and ran under the twilight sky, Michael realized this, indeed, could be their path forward. He didn't have to manage everything alone. He could lean into his fears, share them with his family, and find strength together. But even as the joy enveloped him, a new question lingered in his heart. What if embracing vulnerability set off a chain of events he couldn't predict? With that thought hanging in the air, the shadows of the evening crept closer, and Michael wondered what new challenges awaited them just beyond the horizon. The laughter of heroes echoed through the backyard, tickling the gentle evening breeze. Tommy wielded his stick with confidence, guiding Michael through imaginary battles. Fight the ice dragons, Dad. They're coming. He shouted, his wide eyes shimmering with excitement. Michael plunged into the role, raising his sword high. Not on my watch. He roared, feeling a thrill rush through him. In this game of make-believe, there were no adult worries weighing him down. Just the pure delight of being with his kids. Lily skipped close by, her heart dancing from one story to another. And the princess. She's got a magic potion, she declared, her imagination weaving new layers to their adventure. In that moment, Michael felt as if the world outside their little bubble had faded away, leaving only joy and giggles in its place, yet, there was a flicker of uncertainty lurking in the back of his mind. Each laugh rang a little louder, but the shadows of their reality loomed at the edges. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was just a temporary reprieve, like standing in the eye of a storm. Would those ice dragons in Tommy's tail turn real when the games were done? As if sensing his thoughts, Mr. Harris called out gently from his seat on the porch. "Children, let us take a moment and breathe," he said, motioning for them to gather around. They all sank to the grass in a circle, the sky transitioning from golden hues into deepening blues. "Breathe in the magic all around," Mr. Harris instructed, his voice soothing. "Magic isn't just in dragons and swords, it's also in trusting one another and supporting each other. Do you see it?" Tommy nodded, his face reflecting the seriousness of the moment. "Can we be brave like dragons?" he asked. "Braver," Mr. Harris replied, a smile teasing the corners of his lips. "Bravery is about facing the real battles too, ones that leave us feeling vulnerable." Michael felt the weight of those words settle once again, stirring something deep within him. "Why do we have to be vulnerable?" Lily asked, her brows furrowed in confusion. "Isn't it better to be strong?" Michael could feel his heart pounding, the turmoil of truth bubbling up. "Being strong doesn't mean hiding your feelings, sweetheart. Sometimes, showing your true self is the bravest thing you can do. It connects us. Like we all are superheroes together." Tommy chirped, eyes brightening. "Exactly," Mr. Harris agreed. "The strongest superheroes aren't just powerful, they are also kind, honest, and brave enough to admit when they need help." Michael took a deep breath, feeling his heart soften as he considered Mr. Harris's wisdom. This was a path worth taking, he realized, the vulnerability, the honesty, the togetherness. But just as he felt a surge of hope, the sky rumbled softly, a warning of the storm he had also been trying to ignore. In that moment, a raindrop plopped down onto Tommy's nose, followed by a light sprinkling from the clouds above. The kids jumped up, squealing in delight, thinking it was all part of their superhero game. "Let us catch the raindrops," Tommy shouted, dashing back into the fray. Michael followed, laughing, but one thought hung like heavy rain in the back of his mind: would their playful escapade distract him enough from the realities that were closing in? With droplets dancing around them, laughter filling the air, Michael felt his resolve starting to build. Maybe they could face anything if they did it together as a family. But what did that really mean when the real battles beckoned? As the rain intensified, turning into a downpour, the world blurred around them. Would this be a true test of their resolve, their connection? Michael's heart raced with hope and uncertainty. In that moment, he realized he was standing at a crossroads. Could he take that leap of faith with his family, even if it meant facing the unknown? The rain poured down, drenching everything in its path, but the children didn't seem to care. They twirled and jumped, splashing through puddles that formed in the yard. Their laughter rang out like music, drowning out the storm's low growls. Michael stood on the fringes, watching his kids sparkle in the downpour. Each droplet that cascaded from the air felt like a reminder of everything he was trying to protect. "Dad, come on. You have to battle the rain dragons," Tommy yelled, splashing over toward him, his hair plastered against his forehead. In that moment, Michael felt the pull of the game urging him to join. The wall around his heart began to crumble. What if embracing this wow moment could wipe the worries away? He shot forward, arms wide, fully embracing the chaos swirling around him. Together, they fought off rain dragons, giggles mixing with the sound of the storm. The weight of responsibilities melted for a few blissful seconds. Lily tackled Michael's leg, pretending to stab him with her own imaginary sword, complete with a dramatic battle cry. "You will not take my father," she shouted, earning another wave of giggles from Tommy. Michael couldn't help but laugh too, surrendering fully to the spirit of the moment. It felt liberating. Then, out of nowhere, a loud crack of thunder boomed overhead, rattling the air. The children paused, eyes wide with surprise. For a second, fear painted their faces, and Michael's own heart sank. The daunting reality slipped back in a reminder that storms would come, relentless and harsh. "Let us take cover," he shouted, gathering the kids and sprinting to the porch as the rain pounded down harder. Once they were safe, Tommy looked at him with eyes that still sparkled, unfazed by the storm. "Can we keep playing?" "Of course. Just a different kind of game now." Michael knelt down, meeting the kids at their level. "We can still be heroes. Rain or shine, dragons or storms." "Right. Right." They chimed together, feeling the safety of Dad's presence. As the rain streamed down, Michael felt a sense of urgency bubbling up, a desire to share more of himself. "You know," he began, the words flowing more easily than he anticipated, "being brave doesn't always mean fighting. Sometimes it's about being honest with each other, even when things get tough." "Even if I'm scared?" Tommy asked, brows furrowed in serious contemplation. "Especially when you're scared," Michael replied, feeling a shift within himself. "It's okay to feel that way. That's how we know we're human." Lily pondered this for a moment, then asked, "What do we do when we feel scared, Dad?" Michael glanced at the drenching downpour outside, recalling the confusion and vulnerability from moments past. "Well, we stick together. We hold on tight, and we talk about it. That's how you're brave, by asking for help or sharing what's inside." Tommy nodded slowly, the gears turning in his mind. "Can we be brave and play in the rain again?" "Yes, sweetie, but first, let us stay dry for a bit." As they huddled on the porch, Michael felt a shift in the air. The storm outside wasn't the only thing brewing. He sensed a change in himself, something transformative. He may not defeat the real dragons alone, but he could face them head-on with his family. They could navigate through the storm together. A flicker of determination sparked in his heart. "We'll find a way, won't we?" he murmured to himself, but the kids answered loud and clear. "Yeah. Together." But just as the tension eased, lightning flashed bright across the sky, cutting through the safety of their cocoon. It was a reminder that storms can change everything in an instant. Would their united front be enough when the real trials begin? As moments ticked by and the rain continued to pour, Michael's heart began to beat faster once more. What awaited them at the edge of the storm? The horizon loomed dark and heavy with uncertainty. What would happen when they finally stepped back out into the wild? The rain thudded against the roof, a constant reminder of the tempest raging outside. Michael glanced at his children, who were bundled up on the porch, their breath visible in the cool air. Despite the downpour, their eyes glimmered with excitement. They were ready, armed with their imaginations and an unwavering belief in the magic of this moment. "Should we have a quick strategy meeting?" Lily suggested, a grin spreading across her face. "We don't want the rain dragons to get too strong, do we?" "No way. We're a team." Tommy chimed in, bouncing on his heels. Michael couldn't help but smile at their infectious enthusiasm. "Okay, let us do it. Here's what we'll do." He crafted a plan on the fly, spinning tales of how they would defend their kingdom against a horde of imaginary beasts. As he spoke, he felt the warmth of their laughter wrapping around him, shielding all three from the storm brewing beyond the safety of their porch. They shared a strategy, a series of silly moves and synchronized dances to scare off the dragons. Best of all, they drew strength from one another, their hands all piled on top of each other in a show of solidarity. For a moment, collective bravery ignited their young spirits, an unyielding fortress against fear. But then, a booming crack of thunder shattered the moment, the clouds roiling ominously overhead. The sound vibrated through the air and a shiver ran down Michael's spine. It felt like a warning, a reminder of nature's power. That what if Tommy started, his voice small and shaky. Michael knelt down, meeting his son's uncertain gaze. What if the storms come? What if things get complicated? He swallowed hard, knowing the weight of that question. We talk about it, Tommy. Just like we talked about how to be brave. Each word felt like an affirmation, forging not just protection for the moment, but a bond that could last. What if, Lily echoed softly, looking between her dad and brother, we get scared and can't fix it? What if it's too big? Michael felt that fear too, a familiar ache clenching his heart, but he took a deep breath and shook it off. Then we leaned on each other, just like always. No storm lasts forever, and neither do feelings of fear. The kids nodded, reassured by their father's words. Michael stood, holding each of their small hands in his, grip firm yet gentle. No rain dragon, no storm, can break our bond. We can face anything together. Suddenly, a flash of lightning illuminated the yard, casting eerie shadows. The next thunderclap followed almost instantly, rattling the porch steps. In an instant, the world outside transformed, trees bending under the weight of the winds, the sound of heavy raindrops morphing into a wild percussion. Let us be brave now, Tommy shouted, determination flaring in his voice. He pulled on his dad's hand, ready for action. Yeah, Lily shouted. Let us go rescue the kingdom. Okay, Michael exclaimed, feeling the thrill rise within him. But first he pulled them closer, a last moment of safety and warmth. You both ready? Ready? They shouted. Michael led the charge, and they sprinted from the porch into the storm's embrace, laughter intertwined with the churning winds. Puddles splashed around them, muddy boots and rain-soaked clothes. The world became a delightful chaos, a wild adventure filled with waves of uncertainty, but as they danced and battled, the strains of the storm continued to rumble like a distant echo, each blast urging them to be courageous. How long could they fight against the elements? Were they strong enough to face what was really brewing both outside and within? Stay close, Michael hollered against the wind. Keep fighting. The answer lay just beyond the storm, waiting to be uncovered. But was this rain a curse, or could it become the catalyst for their greatest transformation? He sensed a turning point looming, one that would test their unity. Would this storm bring them closer or tear them apart? The wind howled as they raced through the rain. Each splash brought squeals of delight, their laughter dancing above the roars of the tempest. Michael felt alive, caught in the joy of being with his children, their shared adventure surging like the wild winds around them. But beneath that joy, the storm's weight pressed down harder. Dad! Look out for that puddle! Shouted Tommy, just as he leaped over a gaping hole filled with murky water. Good eye! Michael praised, feeling the tension ease momentarily. But then a powerful gust knocked into him from the side, nearly sending him to his knees. Whoa! He regained his balance, glancing at the kids, their eyes wide as saucers but filled with unyielding bravery. Let us make our way to the old tree, Lily cried. It's our fortress. Together, they charged toward the gnarled oak that stood proud against the elements, a steadfast symbol of safety amidst chaos. Its sturdy branches loomed like guardians, and even in the rain, it seemed to offer comfort. Once they reached the tree, they huddled beneath its sprawling branches. The world shrank to the sound of raindrops hitting leaves like a drumbeat, and the roar of thunder felt distant, almost muffled. Strategize, Tommy insisted, breathless but excited. He leaned against the rugged bark. What's our plan now? Michael knelt again, their eyes meeting. We protect our fortress. Who's going to stand guard? He asked, feeling the weight of their need for security in that moment. I can. I'll watch out for the dragons. Tommy puffed out his chest, determination radiating from him. I'll help. We can scare them with our battle cries. Lily added, mimicking the fearsome roars of dragons. Alright. Let us show them what we've got. Michael grinned, pride swelling in his chest. They began to make noise, shouting and singing silly tunes to ward off the imaginary threats lurking in the storm, but just as the children's cheers reached a crescendo, another blinding flash of lightning illuminated the scene, and thunder boomed like a giant's laughter. The branches shivered above them. For a fleeting moment, doubt crept into Michael's mind. What if they really were facing something far scarier than they knew? Dad? Lily's voice was gentler, a whisper barely heard above the sounds of the storm. What happens if the storm doesn't stop? Michael felt his heart heavy. That question hung in the air, thick like the clouds above them. We find shelter, just like we found it here, he replied, trying to reassure them but feeling the uncertainty within himself. We hold on to hope, and we believe in each other. As they stood there, clinging to each other, emotions churned within him: fear, hope, and love. It was as if the world outside was a mirror, reflecting the turmoil in their hearts. Let us come up with a secret signal, he proposed suddenly, a way to connect amidst the storm. If anyone feels scared or alone, we'll shout and wave our arms, and the others will come running. The idea seemed to ignite a spark in the kids. Yeah. Like a dragon alarm. Tommy laughed, and even Lily giggled, her eyes shining with renewed spirit. Then came a gust of wind that felt different, imbued with an urgency. What if we start with our battle cry? Michael suggested, feeling the strength swell within him. Rah! The children shouted together, their voices piercing through the storm. With that roar, they released their fear into the universe, a declaration that they wouldn't be conquered. But as they stood firm beneath the shelter of the old oak, Michael couldn't shake the feeling that the storm was a sign, a teacher waiting to impart a lesson. What lay beyond the tempest? Was there something deeper hidden under the chaos? Okay, team. We stick together. Michael shouted, his voice mixing with the thunder. Deep down, he recognized a call for everyone to grow, to learn, all while facing the raging moments around them. In that swirling chaos, a question lingered in his mind: could the storm, fierce as it was, be the catalyst for healing, more than mere shelter from the rain? As the winds howled louder, they braced themselves, preparing to face whatever followed. And at that moment, the true battle for their spirits began. As the storm raged on, Michael felt a shift deep within him, a strength born not from the absence of fear, but from embracing it. The laughter of his children echoed like battle cries, piercing through the thunder as rumble. It was a beautiful siren song of resilience. They could face anything together. Let us regroup, Michael called, gathering his kids closer. In that space beneath the mighty oak, the world outside felt distant, the shadows fading as they focused on each other. What do we need to remember right now? His daughter, Lily, chimed in. We keep our hearts brave. Her voice, bright and assured, flickered with the light of hope. Right. Tommy's enthusiasm surged like the rain falling around them. And we can be silly too. Like fighting the rain dragons. Yes. But we must also share what we are feeling. It's okay to be scared, right? Michael affirmed, noticing the question behind their playful energy. Each nod from the children solidified a pact, a promise to stay connected, no matter how fierce the storm. Suddenly, a particularly strong gust of wind swept through, rustling the branches overhead. "Whoa!" the kids squealed. But instead of fear, a sense of exhilaration took hold. "Again. Let us shout out our fears," Michael encouraged, remembering his father's unresolved past and the silence that had haunted him. "Rah!" the trio cried together, their voices melding into the tempest, stealing strength from the storm. And just like that, through shared silliness and shouts, an underlying bond blossomed between them. A sanctuary of understanding, rooted in vulnerability. As they laughed, Michael felt the heaviness in his heart lift. What had once been a haunting reminder of loss transformed into an unbreakable force. He realized life didn't follow a straight path of victories. Healing could arise from moments of shared laughter in the face of uncertainty. The downpour persisted, but the storm within him calmed. "Let us make a promise," he said, eyes sparkling. "Whenever one of us feels scared or alone, we'll create a dragon alarm. When we hear that signal, we'll rally together. No one fights storms alone." "Yes!" the children shouted, the urgency in their voices ringing with conviction. After several moments filled with laughter and shouts, they felt the world opening. It was there, inside that chaotic dance of storm and resilience, a realization blossomed, vulnerability ignited spirit, and togetherness forged strength. But the tempest outside still raged. Would the storm bring new challenges? As they sat beneath their oak fortress, everything felt surreal. The darkness of uncertainty lingered, but the shadows were no longer daunting. They forged a bond that could withstand anything. It was then that a loud crack of lightning struck nearby, a flash like the universe giving birth to new beginnings. Michael instinctively gathered his kids tighter, but instead of dread, laughter erupted. "See!" he exclaimed, comfort pouring from his voice, "just another dragon." Tommy quickly added, "We're chasing them away." "Right. Together." Lily exclaimed, eyes shining like stars breaking through dark clouds. As the storm continued to roll, they began a game of imaginative rescues and heroic deeds, each roar echoing their collective strength. There, in that highly charged moment, they learned they were stronger, not just because they fought the storm together, but also because they opened their hearts to one another. Finally, the rain began to subside. The thunder faded, replaced with a peaceful rhythm of the drops, cleansing their surroundings while washing away the remnants of fear. Emerging from the storm, Michael realized nothing was perfectly resolved, rather, every moment cherished would become a part of their healing story. "Let us go check on Mom. We can share our adventure," Michael declared, leading the charge back toward the house, fierce with newfound determination. As they ran, a beam of sunlight broke through the clouds, illuminating their path with warmth and hope. They knew life's storms would return again, but together, they had a chance to rise. Because true bravery, Michael thought, is not the absence of fear, but the courage to embrace it in full force, alongside those who matter most. In that moment of transformation, Michael caught a glimpse of the legacy he wanted to build, one framed by honesty, connection, and unwavering support. Would it be beautiful? Yes. It would be undeniably real. He looked to his children, each a reflection of what strength and love could ignite. With a heart full of gratitude and a spirit renewed, he took the first step forward into their shared future. This was just the beginning. If you've been moved by Michael's journey, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait another second, hit that bell and mark all notifications to catch every exclusive story that is coming your way. Show your support right now by dropping a like on this video. Trust me, it makes a huge difference. I want to hear your thoughts and feelings about this ending. Comment below. And don't forget to share this video with at least 5 friends who could use a little inspiration. Your support is vital to keeping this channel alive. Real fans know the power of community. Let us stand together, just like Michael and his family.